Welcome to Ag Shorts. Today's topic is introducing a stallion to mares for the breeding season. What are some of the tricks of the trade, the best ways, best practices, and safety measures that you take for not only the animals, but yourself when you introduce the stallion?
Well, I think the short answer to that technologically is you show them a picture and you swipe left or swipe right, right? Isn't that how you do that now?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Nah, it's um, choosing is one thing. We won't even talk about that yet, but the introduction is just that. I like to keep that stallion in hand if I can and bring those mares in. And we pasture breed for the most part. So, once you turn that stallion loose and those mares, you want to make that pasture and those fences just as safe as possible for them because I mean those studs will take over as a dominant herd member, especially during breeding season, and they will move and run those mares and clearly establish that, you know what, I run you, I control you. And so, lots of behavior that snaking behavior with a lowered head and working it back and forth and chasing those mares back and forth and in circles. I mean, they literally herd them. So knowing that's going to happen, I like to get out there, having that stallion on a good or halter and a strong lead, and then myself, and good discipline with them. I mean, they got to respect you as well, but studs can be studs, even if they're a little bit um, hot for these mares. They will do what they think they need to do to get away from you and to them. And I think one time you watched one take a chunk out of my
Hmm.
bicep, completely unexpected on my part. I'm surprised.
None of us were expecting that. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
pretty
and
aggressive on that.
yeah, I got a pretty good scar on my bicep from that one. But um, you take those precautions and it can still happen. Even, you take a split second of your attention to something else. And sometimes those guys are smart. They'll take advantage of it. And then they're trying to dominate you as
Right.
well. And that's all what it's about. So a lot of times those mares will come up or may come up close, especially if they're in heat. They're like, yeah, I'm ready to breed it. We need to have babies. And so getting them close up there, controlling that stallion, is one way to do it. The other way to do it, if I have just a mare and that stallion, is I'll take that mare to him, and a lot of times I'll hand breed them. I can bring a stallion to a mare, let him take care of business while I'm holding her, and then I can do the same thing in a pasture where um, I've got him out in the pasture, and I'll bring her to him and introduce them. And once they've made that introduction and they're, sniffing noses and he's doing all of his stupidness, then turn them loose and let them do what they do naturally, with their own behavior and their own introductions. And he'll still run around a little bit, but you try to control that as much as we can without anybody getting run over, hurt, run through a fence, things like that. So um, mares with colts, same way. I really try to control that mare and colt. A lot of times have your mom holding the colt, or I'll bring him into the corral. That's kind of more almost like a hand breeding at that point, where keep that colt safe, and then because that stud sometimes will have absolutely no regard for that baby. They don't care, even if it's their own. I've seen stallions, they just run through them and scatter a herd for one mare. So it can be very chaotic, kind of violent looking if you're not used to it, but that's nature. That's kind of what you got to deal with.
That's horse breeding from our end, and especially the more important part of introducing the stallion to the mare and trying to do it in the most safest way possible.